So one of the things that got me quite excited, and this was like a light, bold moment. It shouldn't have been, but because we talk a lot, and when the MPP took off here, it was the idea of having an ISO 20022 sort of framework to go with the payment. And so just so everyone knows what ISO 20022 is, it's like the standard for the data and the framework that goes with the payment. It's a much richer data set than historically you could attach to a payment. Now, in the US, ACH is still not ISO 20022, but FedNow and the others are. So it's is TCH ISO 20022? Yeah.
Yes.
So the idea now is like, how do we start to bring that into the discussion when we think about the future? Because attaching a greater sense of data, it's not about just attaching an invoice or attaching this, but how do we link this into some of the challenges we're having at the moment around fraud and scam and transaction monitoring and being able to leverage AI with this data, this richer data set? I think there is incredible opportunity here, but it's not front and center in the discussion in Australia. And it was interesting to start to see it emerge at Nacha.
Mm-hmm. That's an excellent point. And AI is moving so fast in terms of, what the options are, certainly in the financial services sector, that maybe that will help drive us forward and using, instant payments more because, with our same day ACH, it's still EDI based effectively, right? Yeah. It has very limited capability. And of course, challenges around how you're exchanging the information there as well. But we haven't even begun to tap that. And another little detail on the US is that even though the networks are ISO based and the transactions go into the network and come out of the network in ISO, every financial institution doesn't have to generate its own ISO files.
Yeah.
So processor may be doing that for them unless they're a very large bank.
Yes. And because that was another part of the discussion, wasn't it? Like people sort of getting ISO ready. Is that,
Mm-hmm.
but that's not being mandated though, is it? Because like there's a lot of for people to get ISO ready and they should be doing it. That's just still an optional. We think you should be doing it because it benefits you, not that you have to.
Yeah. And I think corporate customers are very aware of what's happening in the payment system and they're pushing, their banks to do more. Of course, many of them aren't fully ready either, but they'd like to be. And Glenbrook did some research for the Faster Payments Council where we talked to corporate treasurers who basically are big users of the ACH today. And, what are your interests in instant payments and what would it take for you to transition some of these transactions? And they're all extremely interested. But one of their challenges is that, their ERP systems and, whether they're a biller or a treasurer, et cetera, they're not updated for ISO either. So we're in for a prolonged transition.
Yes. We're starting to get a taste of that in the idea of this transition into 2030 with the Beck's retirement. Mm-hmm. You break that down, that's only like 65 months. And again, we're getting into that whole thing, the ERP, the billing, like how do we break this apart? They're so deeply integrated here. But I think I was really encouraged to be sort of challenged on the ISO piece in terms of my thinking, because I do think that this is something that if the world starts to adopt this, it can go nicely into the way that the payment ecosystem evolves in the US. The ACH CEO sort of said at the time, she put it up that she's waiting for their members to basically say that they want it as opposed to enforcing it and putting it out. And I think that's fine, but people don't know what they don't know. Like it's hard to get your head around, well, what is the benefit from doing this work to get here? We would like to see some, what is the value? So I feel, I'm focused on trying to bring that back to here now and start to think about what are the use cases that we can leverage that data richness for to do more on the other side. So.